Girl Scouts was such a big part of my life and also my family's life when I was a young girl.
So many girls tie back what they choose to do in life from an experience they had in Girl Scouting. Having been a first grade teacher, I see the power of what all happens in those young minds at that age. And that's what I find happens through Girl Scouting, is that people take that moment in time that can change a child's life forever.
As a CEO, what is the legacy that you want to leave?
Every girl who wants to be gets to be.
Hi guys, welcome back to Post Run High. A few weeks ago, I got to go on a run and sit down afterwards with Barczykowski. She is the CEO of Girl Scouts of the USA, and I was so excited for this one because Girl Scouts was a big part of my childhood. I grew up in Glen Rock, New Jersey, which is one of those tiny towns where everybody knows everybody. And I went to a Catholic grammar school with the same 40 kids from kindergarten through 8th grade. And for a large chunk of those grammar school years, all of the girls in my grade were part of Girl Scouts, and my mom was actually one of our volunteer troop leaders, which made it even more special for me because I got to see my mom become a role model, not just for me, but for the other girls around me. And guys, we could do a whole episode on my mom or with my mom, but just to give you a little bit of context, my mom worked for a nonprofit called Healing the Children for most of my life. And she also coached lacrosse in town, and she actually coached the high school girls lacrosse team when I was growing up, not when I was in high school, but when I was little. So acts of service, especially for young women, have always been something that she cared deeply about and that I grew up around. And I think that's what made Girl Scouts feel so important to me. It was another space where I saw women leading, giving back, creating community. And I'm guessing if you guys are listening to this, maybe you had something like that too. Maybe it was Girl Scouts, maybe it was a sports team or a youth group or a club, or even just a group of strong women in your life who modeled those values. You know, whatever it looked like, I think we can all remember how formative those kind of environments can be and how it really teaches you values that stay with you for your whole life. So when I got the opportunity to sit down with Bonnie, who started as a volunteer troop leader like my mom and now leads the entire national organization, it really felt full circle. Bonnie and I talked about mentorship, confidence, and the importance of showing up for the next generation. It's a short conversation today, but I really hope it reminds you of the people who helped shape you and maybe even inspires you to be that person for somebody else. So here's my conversation with Bonnie. I hope you guys love it. Let's get into it. What is up? Welcome back to Post Run High. I'm here with Bonnie today. Bonnie is the CEO of Girl Scouts. We just got back from a 1.5-ish mile run. How are you feeling?
Awesome.
Yeah. Bonnie's a runner.
Beautiful.
You were a pro out there. Your breath control, everybody always gets nervous with their breath control, like when they're on the run, but you were completely fine.
I'm used to running and talking at the same time.
Yeah. So I found out during the run that Bonnie's a twin and you and your twin sister love to run together. So I'm sure those are really good like yap sessions, you know, where you get good at kind of talking and running.
Mm-hmm. We text each other during the week and go, I hope we have a 20 miler this weekend because we have a lot to catch up on.
Oh my God. It is so cute. I also said to Bonnie while we were running that I am a twin as well. As you guys know, I have a twin brother. So I feel like I attract twins. Like I've had a lot of twins on the show. What was it like growing up with an identical twin sister?
I always say it's a blessing to get your best friend born with you. So it's been awesome. Yeah. We're so identical though. Even my grandkids will be like, are you my grandma? And she loves it.
Are you guys the youngest in your family?
No, we have a sister that's 11 months older. And then my twin sister and me, and then we had 2 brothers.
So you got a big old family and you're from St. Louis. What was it like growing up in St. Louis?
It was awesome growing up. Yeah. So we lived in St. Louis most of our lives. My husband and I have been married 37 years. So we lived in DC and in Charlotte, but we've been back in St. Louis
Charlotte, North
for
Carolina?
over 30 years.
We're big fans of North Carolina here. Any thoughts for you that came up on our run?
You know, just hearing you say that your mom was your troop leader,
Yeah.
I just ended up with a million questions because I think it is just so neat for you to go back and now ask your mom some of those things because the women who have given and men have given so much to help girls have Girl Scouting experience. So to me, I found myself thinking about that.
When I found out that I was having you on the show, I was so excited because Girl Scouts was such a big part of my life and also my family's life when I was a young girl. And I think Girl Scouts is such an incredible organization.
And I guarantee girls that were in your troop still talk about
Oh,
your
yeah.
mom and
Yes.
the impact that she had on their lives. Yeah.
Absolutely. They absolutely do. And a lot of respect for the Girl Scout troop leaders out there because,
Yeah. I'm
it's
forever grateful
yeah.
for, folks like your mom.
Right. So let's talk about you though and like how you ended up getting into the Girl Scouts organization and
Yeah, so I was running fitness centers for women, which I loved. It was changing young women and women of all ages, their lives. And I was asked to come on the local Girl Scout board. And it was so interesting because they said to me, we'd love for you to join our board. You're passionate about women and girls. And I'm like, I don't know anything about Girl Scouts. And I didn't. I wasn't a Girl Scout myself. And so they're like, you're exactly what we need. We want people who know everything and we want people who really don't know anything. And so I joined the board in 2010 and hook, line, and sinker. I've been all in ever since. I just found myself constantly saying, how did I not know that Girl Scouting did all of this for girls across the country and around the world?
for people that don't know, explain to us what Girl Scouts is, how early you can get involved, and kind of the importance of Girl Scouts for young women and young girls.
So the piece that I tell people all the time, there is no other organization that provides girls the variety of experience that Girl Scouting provides. So as young as kindergarten, girls can come in and think of the badges that you earned when you were in Girl Scouts
Yeah.
and think of the variety that existed. So I often find our older girls, whether they decide that they're going to go into biomedical engineering or they're going to go into coding or they're going to go into law, so many girls tie back what they choose to do in life from an experience they had in Girl Scouting. And I often think that means without Girl Scouting, would they ever have even known that existed?
Right.
So the variety that we provide. So often when I say to folks that I'm with Girl Scouts, they'll be like, oh, I love Girl Scouts, the cookies. And the cookies are so much more than cookies. They're the largest girl-led entrepreneurship program in the world. So to your point, the skills that you learn through all of that, there's so much more. Cookies Crafts Camp. We've done that for 113 years. We still do that. And we do so much more.
If you're enjoying this episode with Bonnie, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. It helps more people discover these conversations and it helps us continue bringing on amazing guests like Bonnie. How can you get your daughters involved in Girl Scouts? Like, where are the organizations? Like, are they at every school or is that something you guys are like working towards?
Yeah, so they can go on to girlscouts.org and actually plug in zip code and it'll show them like the closest Girl Scouting for them. And I'm going to answer the second part of your question, which is that what we are trying to do is get Girl Scouting. There's 25 million girls kindergarten through 12th grade in the United States. And I want every girl to know that they have the opportunity to be in Girl Scouting. And so for caregivers, I'm like, please help us make that possible because the number one thing that stands in the way is we need volunteers. We need people who will do what your mom did back when you were young. We need that today.
Right. And it was amazing finding out also while we were running that you started out post-college as a teacher.
I do think thinking back to first grade, that's why I love people get used to me saying a little girl doesn't get to be 5 twice.
Oh,
And so Girl Scouting starts at 5 in kindergarten. So yes, having been a first grade teacher, I see the power of what all happens in those young minds at that age. So for me, girls can join Girl Scouts at any point, kindergarten through 12th grade. But I so want our young kindergartners and first graders to get started in Girl Scouting because they don't ever get to go back and rewind that time in their life again.
no, it's so true. I mean, I have so many friends that I wouldn't have made if it weren't for Girl Scouts and like, my mom being involved. And like, as you said, like there are so many girls that like credit that time to her and just, it really is like a fundamental period in people's lives. What made you want to, work for nonprofits and get into this line of work?
Actually, I tie that back. I mean, I would say back in high school, I remember a young girl that I went to school with, her dad made a comment one time, and it's a phrase I've always loved, and it's aspire, don't envy. And so when you think of the things you want in life, how do you aspire? And that's what we do to help young people, help them aspire, help them see what they can do. And so for me, that's that kind of piece of service is, I've always said moments in time. How do you create moments in time for people today that others created for you? So in answer to your question, a lot of people created moments in time for me. I look back from young elementary school, middle school, high school, outside of my family, the people that created moments in time that now when I look back, changed my life forever. And sometimes it could be a simple encounter, taking just a few moments. And that's what I find happens through Girl Scouting, is that people take that moment in time that can change a child's life forever.
Is there a moment in time in your life that you kind of look back on and, maybe as a story that you're comfortable sharing that you can kind of pinpoint that ethos too?
Yeah, there's so many. So that
Okay.
another day, another time. But the
Yeah.
one that I will always say I share with young girls is when I got out of high school, my mom never went to high school. So she only went through 8th grade. And when I was 16, she went back and got her GED. And so watching her and my father, I realized I didn't have to go on to, to college or to anything. Like I could get a job but it was my high school counselor that was just like, there's so much out there, and he really encouraged me. So I started college and I was one semester in and decided that I wasn't going to continue. And
Wow.
it was a woman who I actually was doing student service hours for. She worked in the counseling office and she said, "You have 5 minutes?" I'd never really talked to her. And I said, "Sure." And she goes, "A little bird told me you're not going to come back in January." And I'm like, "No, I've just decided this isn't for me. And maybe someday." She's like, "Do me a favor. Come back for one more semester. If come May, this isn't for you, you'll always know you gave it a full year. And I don't think you'll ever have any regrets. But if you don't come back in January, I fear you'll look back and always wonder." That woman gave me 5 minutes of her time. I never really saw her again on campus. I came back in January. The rest was history. And I think about those 5 minutes. If she hadn't taken it, how different my life would have been. And so my level of gratitude, I've tried to find her to be able to thank her. But so yeah, there's so many of those moments in time. That's one that I know changed my life forever. And for our Girl Scouts now, I say to them, whether they decide that they want to go to a trade school or into the military or into a college or university, so many options. But whatever they choose, get in and stay in it long enough to be able to actually go, I gave it that, and then change. If it's not what you need, I don't want people to be miserable,
Right.
but I'm always like, give it, just like she asked me to do. If I didn't May, it wasn't for me.
Uh-huh.
She's right. I could have gone on and done something different.
When you were in that mindset as a young girl, like what were you thinking you were going to go on and do?
Yeah, I think watching that my parents were great parents, and my father worked on an assembly line putting light bulbs together, and my mom worked at a grocery store. And I looked at them and they had a happy life and we were a happy family. I figured I'd get a job and do something. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think for me, that's what I actually thought I would do. I would get a job, I'd find somebody, I'd get married, I'd have my own family. And all that could have been great, but I absolutely love how my life has turned out, which is why I always reflect back on that moment.
No, and it's amazing. And you've become such a leader for obviously for so many, especially as the CEO of, an organization like Girl Scouts. So I'm curious, like, what does leadership mean to you? And how do you guys define leadership?
I love that question because I often think people think leader thinks it is a CEO, it's a president. It's a leader in our own lives. So what I love to tell our Girl Scouts is I want to help you have the skills to thrive in your life, leading in your homes, in your community, in your workplace, wherever you choose to work. If I'm a teacher, I'm leading in the classroom. If I'm a parent, I'm leading in my home. So to me, it's about having those skills to help you and your family thrive and your community as a whole.
From your perspective, what do you think makes a good leader?
Yeah, at almost 60 years old, I'll tell you, I've learned a lot. So I probably would have answered that question different even a decade ago. For me, it's truly recognizing that people are different and different doesn't make somebody wrong. So to understand styles, things that people are passionate about, how they show up to certain things, being different is just different. And how you can combine those differences and to make just a powerful experience is just so good. And so for me, I've learned to be more of an empathetic leader, to know that I might do something different than you. Doesn't make you wrong, me right, or vice versa. Just makes us different. So we have our Gold Award is the highest award girls earn in Girl Scouts. And they have to do a project that will make change within a community, and it has to be sustainable. So for me, it's just so fascinating to watch these young women and the projects they do. And then we give out 112 scholarships, one girl at each Girl Scout Council each year who've earned their Gold Award.
And I read that you've helped increase that pool of money for scholarships by a significant amount, right?
Well, that was actually at the local council that we had a campaign,
Okay.
but we have on the national level. We used to give out 10 scholarships a year, and we've grown that now to 112.
I mean, that is incredible. 10 to 112. And that's been all while you've been the CEO.
I won't take all credit because it takes a team, but yeah, it's happened over the last couple of years, and a very passionate board of directors that wanted to make sure that that was possible. So it takes a lot and huge community support. We wouldn't be able to do it without people, stepping in and supporting in that way.
We referenced kind of some of the projects that the girls have done. What are some of like the standout projects that you've seen that you're like, I can't believe like a 12th grader has come up with this project?
Yeah. I mean, and it goes on. And actually, if you ever go to the website, you can actually go and read the projects. But things like Girls that see that they want more STEM education at a school, they'll do their own STEM curriculum to help young people with STEM. I love it. Robotics. I think I shared one young woman who built a wind turbine out of recycled material to power a portion of her family's home. Like I was doing that at 17? No.
It's so wild. What do you think is the most important skill somebody can learn when they're mentoring young girls?
Listen. Like we often think we know what our kids need. And I always say that when we make decisions at Girl Scouts, put that girl at the center of the decision at all times. So in mentoring, really to be able to see what does that girl need most? Because often we can just think what they need. But I think just pausing and being able to listen and know what they mainly need is going to be the most powerful thing for her.
I feel like listening something that's so simple, but at the same time, it can be so difficult.
I used to have a sticky note on my laptop that said, never forget the art of silence. Literally, I had it there to remind myself that there's so much power in listening. And so many people have said it. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, but you're right. The intentionality that it
Oh, I like
takes.
that.
Yes.
2 ears and 1 mouth. That's so cute. I've never heard that before, but yeah, I'm going to say that because that's honestly really good advice. For women aspiring to have leadership roles, like what would you say are the keys to breaking through barriers and like navigating those challenges? Because there's growing pains that come with becoming a leader.
One, it's following your passion. Because I'll talk to women that will have reached levels at different organizations, and I'll ask them a similar question. And they're like, when I was passionate enough about something, I would take whatever steps it took and be open to the mentors along the way that were willing to step in and lean in and be able to assist. Just don't go it alone. Know that there's an army of people around you that want to be able to help you.
When you had just gotten into the role as like CEO of Girl Scouts, did you have a mentor that you kind of leaned on?
I've had many mentors. Those long runs with my sister have been the best. I always say that's like advice that we give each other because we can be really candid with each other in a way that, we don't tell each other what maybe you want to hear. We say what you need to hear. And that's the best mentoring you can get.
Oh, that's so true. I mean, my twin and I definitely go at it, which is, it's the best. It's like we have the best ideas together, the same sense of humor. It's so true. The twin thing is like unbeatable.
Right.
For people that aren't born with a built-in best friend and mentor, though, it is important to find a mentor and foster somebody that can really give you like genuine advice, whether it's like a mom or a cousin or an older sister or brother.
100%. And when you said that, it is finding that. I had a girlfriend who one time said to me, she goes, I come to you because I know you're going to tell me what I need to hear. That's a mentor. It's like, so yeah, you're right. Find that person.
Were there challenges that you experienced like when you were first starting out in the role that you kind of had to grow through?
Yeah, I would say the biggest challenge is just remembering in Girl Scouting, we're the microcosm of the nation. We really are. So we have girls from all different backgrounds and beliefs and where they've come from. And I have such a respect for that because that's actually the future. So our ability to have girls, again, who may think differently, be different together, they're learning from a young age what that looks like at a time where I feel like we need that because that's our future.
What do you think is the future of Girl Scouts?
I see us just exploding. I really do. I think I was sharing recently with somebody. I remember when my 3 children were young, and there was a billboards at the time that said, do you know if you read 1 book a night to your child, how much more likely they will be to succeed? And I remember like literally hyperventilating going, I don't read a book each night. And guess what? Mom started reading a book each night. I feel that's what Girl Scouting is today. When I see what families want for their young girls, we offer what they want. So now the biggest thing for us is making sure that we can have every girl who wants to be a Girl Scout get to be.
It is amazing. I'm curious, like what initiatives right now that you guys are doing are you super passionate about? And what are some that you want to see happen in the future that you guys are maybe working towards that people can be excited about or, help us manifest?
So I think what we offer, like the different badges girls earn, we've stayed so relevant, so current. I mean, I think like we have cybersecurity badges today, and I always tell girls that word didn't exist when I was your age. So I feel we stayed really relevant in our programming. The how we offer Girl Scouting to girls is something that I'm very passionate about. I myself wasn't a Girl Scout. And when folks would ask me, it's like my mom really didn't know that much about Girl Scouts. And so for me, that's one obstacle that exists. It's helping people truly understand who we are, what we do, and really be in community. So communities who don't know Girl Scouting, how are we like showing up with them, not for them, but with them? So in a way that they're like, Girl Scouting can be part of what we do.
Absolutely. And it is interesting because like for me, when I became one, like I just kind of associated the Girl Scouts organization to be like almost a part of the school. Like every school kind of came with them. But it's interesting knowing that that really isn't the case and knowing that you guys are working hard to like educate more people on the organization, even though it's been around for so long. And I would assume not everybody knew about it, but it's just not the case.
And I think sometimes for organizations that are as old as we are, 113, it takes more to have people remember how relevant we are today. Because we've been around, they remembered from the last time they were involved. And so it's making sure people see Girl Scout logo and they're like, oh, Girl Scouts. And like they know the brand. We got to make sure they know what the brand stands for and what we do today.
Tell us about the Girl Scout Cookie Initiative and why it's so important.
So the Girl Scout cookies have been a part of the program for over 100 years.
Wow.
And we look back, if you think about it, again, it's learning those skills. You know, you're learning people skills and money management and business ethics and all the things that come along with the cookie program. I love the goal setting and decision making piece because to me, that's part of the entrepreneurship side of the cookie program. So it's the largest girl-led entrepreneurship program in the world. And you're right. It's more than when you see girls out there, I encourage people stop and ask them, you know, what are you going to do with your cookie proceeds? Because 100% stays in that local Girl Scout council with the troop and with the council itself. So the girls can use what they earn through the cookie program to power their experiences, whether it's community service or going on a camping event or earning different badges. I mean, they choose what they want to use it for. And if you ask women, like I went to a group of women CEOs, Fortune 500 CEOs, and it was awesome to hear them talk about the Girl Scout cookie program. And every one of them, like one, it was the steps to doing it. One is I was always the highest seller. Women attribute so much of what they learned in that program to skills they use today in the roles that they hold today. So that's what we're developing in girls, again, from kindergarten all the way through.
What was the original cookie?
A shortbread.
And now how many cookies are there within the...
So there's different varieties. And so right now, and actually the very top one, because we always get asked what's the biggest one, is the Girl Scout Thin Mint. That is the top seller every single year. So I'd have to ask you, what is your favorite?
I think I really liked all of them. Like I always loved the shortbread one as well. Oh gosh, there's like the one that has peanut butter that is like it was a go-to. I don't know what the names are for any of them, but my mom would get like one of every box.
Yes.
But I was never the girl that sold the most amount of cookies because definitely in our town that was like I lived in New Jersey, a town that was right next to the train line where all the men would go into work. Like girls would literally just bring it to their dad's office and then they'd get so many sales. My dad was one of those dads that was like, you're not allowed to sell them to the office because that was too easy. He was like, you have to go door by door and try to sell the cookies.
I love it today that we so encourage. So whether it's their mom or their dad, whoever, we say, don't just take in the order form, let them do a little video, let them come in. And I love girls today have their digital cookie sites. So they create their own video about what they're going to be doing with their cookie earnings. And it's so great to see the entrepreneurship mindset that comes with it.
Well, now with videos, that must be really cute for you guys to see.
And they have their own little online marketing platforms. I mean, again, it has evolved. The program's evolved just as we've evolved.
Absolutely. Oh gosh, it is so, so cute. And yeah, that to me was like my favorite part of every year when we were like in elementary and high school, when the Girl Scouts would come around knocking on our door, selling the cookies. We'd be like so excited to get them. As the CEO of the organization right now, what is the legacy that you want to leave?
The legacy that I want to leave for Girl Scouting is that every girl who wants to be gets to be. And that when I think of the future alum generations and how they'll look back and they'll speak to what they've been able to learn and grow and how Girl Scouting has helped them thrive, to me, that's the legacy that I want.
Well, thank you so much for being on Post Run High and running with me today. And it's cool to talk to somebody that really has like an influential role for young women. I mean, we're all about supporting girls on this show and inspiring girls to be the best version of themselves. And you really are the example of that. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kate.
Okay, guys, I am back. Kate here. Thank you so much for watching or listening. I hope this conversation inspired you, whether you're leading a troop, raising a daughter, or just trying to be the kind of person others can count on. And if this episode made you think of someone, maybe your mom or a former teacher, a coach, a friend, I'd encourage you to send it to them or just text them or give them a call and thank them for how they shaped you. As always, if you're enjoying Post Run High, it would mean the world to me if you rated, reviewed, or shared our show. And if you're watching this on YouTube, do not forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We've got so many more conversations coming that I cannot wait for you guys to hear. So until next time, thank you guys for being here, and I will see you soon.